We have more now about that infamous slap at this year's Oscars. Along with all the new films coming out this weekend, our film critic Tom Santilli is here now with his take on the Oscars and the weekend movie watch list. And Tom, good to see you again. I'm sorry that I'm starting this off this way, but we've got to talk about Will Smith again. You know, like, how has the fallout been in your eyes? I mean, how has this week just kind of gone after that slap from the Oscars?
I mean, in theory, the fact that people are talking about the Oscars almost a week later should be a great thing, but not necessarily because of why they're talking about it. Yeah, this story is still making huge headlines. You know, everybody has now probably seen, you know, the onstage assault of Will Smith, you know, slapping Chris Rock. And, you know, when I watched it live, I was at the Oscar Gala, hosting the gala at the Maple Theater. So a big thank you to everybody who came out, made that a great event. But you could just tell, like, the energy just kind of sucked out of the room when that happened. And I think that was kind of the feeling. You know, there was this time, like, was it real? Was it a bit? And then we slowly learned that it was not a bit, that it was happening for real. Where we stand right now is that, you know, Will Smith has released a public apology. Behind the scenes, the Academy is working. He will see some kind of repercussions. You know, I don't think they're going to take away his Oscar for winning for King Richard, but he might get, you know, banned from the Academy or, you know, some other kind of, you know, thing. Chris Rock has not formally responded yet, although he addressed it briefly at the beginning of a stand-up act that he did in Boston. He also, by the way, his ticket prices for his stand-up act have gone through the roof. They've added a new show in the Detroit area. So it's ongoing, and we'll have to kind of see what the fallout ends up being moving forward for the Oscars.
Right, yeah, Chris Rock gained maybe more of a following, and we're not really going to be done with the news cycle until we figure out what the consequences are for Will Smith from the Academy.
For sure.
Well, last year's Oscars, they were the lowest rated in the history of the show. How do the ratings do this year, and is there a pre-slap and a post-slap ratings that we need to break down here?
There were, yeah, people have now released these numbers. You know, after the slap, the numbers rose nearly 1 million people, you know, when they were hearing all this online buzz about what had happened. But overall, the Oscars this year, about 16 million people watched. That's about a 60% increase over last year, which on paper sounds great, but this was still the second lowest rated Oscars of all time. Only the second time, the last 2 years are only the 2 times in history since the Oscars were televised in 1953 that under 20 million people watched them. So I don't want the Academy Award to think that somehow this increase in ratings, which by the way was not all because of the slap, you know, there was an increase well before the slap as well. But I don't want the Oscars to think that somehow they did good. This show in general was not a great show, wasn't the show that I remember growing up watching and loving movies. And so I hope that they kind of take a look in the mirror and figure out what they need to do to reconnect with people out there who
That's interesting. I mean, it's very interesting, and it's a good perspective that you put it in for us, too. Now, as we move past the Oscars, though, we want to also talk about some movies that are coming out this weekend. So we have some in theaters and in streaming, right? What are people looking for this weekend?
Yeah, real quickly. So we got MORBIUS is the big film. Jared Leto stars in MORBIUS. This film has been delayed almost 2 years because of the pandemic. It takes place in that Sony version of the Marvel Universe where, like, Venom and Spider-Man are hanging out. I didn't love this movie. It's getting trashed online, but that's the big film. There's also a horror movie out called You Won't Be Alone. That's in theaters, stars Noomi Rapace. And then when you flip over to streaming, there's a comedy. It's a Judd Apatow star-studded comedy called The Bubble. Comes out on Netflix. And if you're looking for a show, this past week, Moon Knight came out on Disney+. That's the newest Marvel series. Stars Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke. And a real quick plug, too, maybe the best film out this week is a Netflix movie. It's an animated film called Apollo 10½. And it's by Richard Linklater, who did Boyhood and a couple other things. So that's what is kind of out there this weekend to get your mind off of the Will Smith thing.
Moving on. There's a ton of stuff there, to the impact.
Yes.
And maybe because of that, you also have a new episode that's coming out in Movie Show Plus. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. MovieshowPlus.com. The new episode that we have debuts this Sunday at 4:30. It streams online, so you can check it out on our website, MovieshowPlus.com, or our YouTube channel. And yeah, more reaction of the Oscars, including we talk a little bit about Coda, which got, of course, overlooked. You know, as the Best Picture winner, and got totally overlooked. So lots to look forward to in that episode. So check that out this weekend.
I'm not going to ask you about Will Smith next time, okay? I promise. We got
I'll
to
hold you to that.
The Grammys might kind of wash that away a little bit too. More awards this weekend. We'll see what comes out of that award show. But Tom Santilli with MovieShowPlus.com. Thank you so much for being with us again, Tom.
Great to be here, Kevin, as always. Thank you.
Well, after the break, we're going to go through the forecast together.